get to the first part of my stream, and that is my review for Cocaine Bear, Chad. I know that I'm a little behind. The movie's already been out for, I guess at this point, a week now, a week plus. But, it took me a while, Chad. I had a busy schedule working on so much content, other reviews, watching other things. So I finally took the time, Chad, to see Cocaine Bear. And again, for those of you who might be unfamiliar with Cocaine Bear at this point, I can't even conceive that because the marketing's been everywhere, Chad. But the film is loosely inspired, and I say loosely, I emphasize the word loosely, inspired by the true story of the Cocaine Bear, which was an American black bear that ingested nearly 75 pounds of cocaine and died, had a heart attack. Its heart literally exploded, Chad. And in this adaptation, the bear goes on this very fictitious adaptation, by the way. The bear goes on a killing spree while numerous characters try to save themselves and search for the missing bags of cocaine. First of all, Chad, I really have to praise the marketing of this movie. Much like Megan, which was released earlier this year, Chet, in January. The trailer, I think, caught the attention of the masses just based on its, ridiculous premise. And just the use of comedy in its trailers and the teasers, Chad, the additional content that they released. I think the marketing team, should be lauded for their efforts to capture our attention. I mean, people were talking about Cocaine Bear for like a week, Chad, and every time they released a new bit of information or a new teaser, people were just so amused by it, as I was, Chad. It looked like a lot of fun, and so this was definitely one of my most anticipated movies of 2023, and you guys know I'm a big fan of killer animal movies. Hey, killer bear movies, Chad. One of my favorite killer animal movies is The Edge, which I recently did a review for. I got an upcoming audio commentary of that movie, Chad. And so, I was like, okay, this looks fun, but it's gonna be like more comedic. I was like, oh, perfect. I love that nice little genre film with a heavy emphasis on comedy and some great kills. Some grisly, murderous kills from a savage, cocaine-fueled black bear. That sounds awesome, The film, I have to say, Chet, the film itself, however, after seeing it, it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag for me. I think what this film does best is being an homage to a lot of those old 1970s and 1980s killer animal movies, as I was saying. It's definitely inspired by films like Grizzly 76, which I reviewed, which was a Jaws knockoff, films like Alligator from 1980s, and like Razorback, Chad, following this man-eating razorback boar that was preying on people in Australia, right? In terms of its structure, its plot, and its violence, there are plenty of great gory kills in this movie, and it relishes in killing most of the film's victims in numerous ways. You get maulings, you get disemboweling, you get plenty of ripped off limbs and just heads exploding, Chad, just people turning into bloody piles of mush. I mean, yeah, that's what if you're going there to see this movie for that, you're gonna get plenty of that, and it's featured throughout this movie, and they do those scenes well, in my opinion. A nice mixture of practical, of CGI, and that's fun. I like that. The film also has a large ensemble cast, which always kind of worries me. However, a few of them definitely do stand out, in particular with, O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is, I'm always interested in seeing him pop up in something. Chad, I'm turning into a real big fan of him. I think he's quite good. Alden Ehrenreich's in this movie as well. I think he's quite good in the film. Isaiah Whitlock, Junior, he's in this, and he's pretty fun in the movie on a number of occasions. And I think Christian Convery, the kid that played Sweet Tooth in the Netflix Sweet Tooth series, the adaptation of the comic. That kid's got a hell of a future, Chad. He's charming the pants off of everybody. He gets a number of good scenes, in this movie. And they do get that. These actors, I think, they get some of the best scenes in the movie, and some of the best comedic sequences, and some of the best action sequences in the film. I have to say, though, here we get to the stuff where I was pretty mixed on. One of the biggest things that disappointed me about the film was how much the comedy just didn't really work for me. Again, like I've always said, comedy is subjective, but there's a lot of comedic moments and repeated gags that just didn't land for me. I got a couple of big laughs, like maybe a few, and a few chuckles, but a lot of it felt just kind of really dry and not really that that well thought out. I think the script needed a punch up and possibly less characters. I mean, this has a pretty big cast. And, some of them are just there to be meat, or some of them just be to, be kind of one-off comedic things and they die. I get it. But I don't know. I think if you possibly had like less characters, you punched up that script, you honed in on what was working, and I think it would have done well for the movie itself. It's just that there's so much comedy, quote unquote, in it, and not all of it, worked for me, and it kind of brought the movie down. And I thought, even though the movie's actually, that's the one thing I will say about it, it's paced fairly well. It's a short 90 minutes, and right before you feel like the movie is like going too long, it wraps everything up. It's not terrible, but I think if you're just not jiving with the comedy like I might have been, it might feel a little longer than it actually is. And when I compare it to like another genre-bending movie that's come out this year, I don't think it reaches the same comedic heights or thrills of something like, Megan, which to me, that blew me away about how fun and great that movie was. I think they had a perfect blending of comedy, drama, horror chat, wholesome moments. That movie really surprised me. Where Cocaine Bear, I expected more of it. And I mean, listen, the movie gave you what it was marketing. It's like a black bear high on cocaine murdering people. It did that. I just, I didn't feel like a lot of the actors had something interesting to do. I'm like, Margot Martindale, she's in the movie, and I love seeing Margot Martindale. And I don't know, her character just felt really, really one note. She gets a nice little gag at one point in the film, but it just wasn't. Not everything worked for me. So yeah, it was a bit of it's a fun watch. I think this is a nice matinee, low matinee. I think it would be worth seeing in the theater. But going in that, you might not be jiving with the comedy. Some people might even think that it might be mean-spirited, but I don't really mind that. That's fine. You want to murder characters in vicious ways. That's okay with me. I mean, it's literally a cocaine bear. So, but yeah, I was hoping for more. I was entertained well enough, but I just felt like it was lacking something. It was just lacking something for me, and particularly when it came to the script itself. I feel like if they had improved that, punched that up, maybe got rid of a few extra characters that were superfluous to the film itself, I think it would have had something better. So, but still enjoyable enough. But that's just my opinions, Chad, on Cocaine Bear. I know a lot of people who are really enjoying the movie, and they like killer animal movies, and they did like the comedy a lot. It did really work for them. So again, like I always say, comedy's subjective. But let me know, how did you think of Cocaine Bear? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Were you kind of mixed like I was? Very curious.